Captain Lee Hyun looked out the window of his ship at the stars. The Harmony was Earth's first real spaceship that could travel between planets and stars. It was humanity's biggest moment, meeting aliens for the first time. "Captain, we have contact," said Park Min-ho from his seat at the communications desk. "3 alien ships are coming toward us. They look big." Lee Hyun smiled. This was what they had trained for. "Send them our message. Tell them we come in peace. Ask if they need any help." The alien ships were huge. Each one was 10 times bigger than the Harmony. They had sharp edges and dark metal that looked scary. Red lights blinked on their sides like angry eyes. On the main screen, an alien face appeared. It had blue skin, 4 eyes, and teeth that looked very sharp. The alien spoke in a voice that sounded like metal scraping against metal. "Human ship, you will stop moving. You will prepare to be destroyed or captured. This is the only warning you get." The crew of the Harmony looked at each other. This was not what they expected for first contact. "Sir," whispered Kim Nari, the ship's doctor. "Maybe we should run." Lee Hyun shook his head. "No, we came here to make friends." He pressed the button to talk back to the aliens. "Hello there," Lee Hyun said in his friendliest voice. "My name is Captain Lee Hyun. We are humans from planet Earth. We are very happy to meet you. Are you feeling okay? Do you need any medical help? We have a very good doctor on our ship." The alien on the screen looked confused. Its 4 eyes blinked one by one. "What did you say?" "I asked if you need help," Lee Hyun repeated. "You sound upset. Are you having a bad day? We have some tea that might make you feel better." Park Min-ho, who was in charge of cultural exchange, stepped forward. "We also brought gifts," he said. "We have Earth music, pictures of our families, and some really good cookies that my grandmother made." The alien stared at them for a long time. "This is a trick," it finally said. "You are trying to make us weak before you attack." "Oh no," said Dr. Kim Nari, stepping into view of the camera. "We would never attack anyone. I am a doctor. I took an oath to help all living beings. That includes you. Are any of your crew hurt? I have medicine that works on many different types of biology." The alien's expression changed. It looked confused. "You offer to heal us? Your enemies?" "Enemies?" Lee Hyun looked surprised. "Why would we be enemies? We just met. We don't even know your names yet." More alien faces appeared on the screen. They all looked confused and a little scared. "I am War Commander Thok of the Dominion Fleet," the first alien said slowly. "We rule this part of space. All new species must submit to our power or be destroyed. This is how it has always been." "That sounds very tiring," said Lee Hyun kindly. "Ruling everything and fighting all the time must be hard work. When was the last time you had a vacation?" War Commander Thok's mouth fell open. "A vacation?" "Yes. Time to rest and do things you enjoy. Everyone needs breaks from work." Lee Hyun smiled. "Would you like to come aboard our ship? We can make you dinner and you can tell us about your culture. We are very interested in learning about different ways of life." "This is not normal," one of the other aliens whispered loudly enough for the humans to hear. Park Min-ho nodded. "You're right. It's not normal where we come from either. Usually when our countries met for the first time, there was fighting. But we learned that talking and sharing food works much better. Would you like to try?" The aliens talked among themselves, in their own language. The humans waited patiently. "Captain," Dr. Kim Nari said quietly, "their body language suggests they are very stressed. Look at how tight their muscles are. They probably have not relaxed in years." Lee Hyun nodded. When the aliens turned back to them, he said, "War Commander Thok, we notice you seem very tired. Being a military leader must be very stressful. Our doctor thinks you might benefit from some rest and good food." "You want to help us?" Thok asked. "Of course," said all 3 humans at the same time. Another alien ship appeared on the screen. This one was even bigger and scarier looking. A new alien face appeared. This one had red skin and 6 arms. "I am Fleet Admiral Krex," the new alien said. "I heard there were strange beings here. Humans. You will surrender now or face the full power of the Dominion." Li Hyun smiled and waved. Hello, Admiral Krex. Nice to meet you. You have a very impressive ship. Did you design it yourself? You must be very smart. Admiral Krex looked confused. Did you just compliment my ship? Yes, it looks very well built. You must take good care of your crew to have such a nice ship. Speaking of your crew, are they eating well? We have extra food if anyone is hungry. Food? Admiral Krex looked at War Commander Thok. Are they offering us food? Yes, Thok said, slowly. They also offered medical help and something called tea. Dr. Kim Nari spoke up. Admiral, I can see from here that your crew looks tired. When did they last have proper rest? Tired soldiers make mistakes. We have some meditation techniques that might help them sleep better. Park Min-ho added, we also have music that is very relaxing. Some of our soldiers used to listen to it after difficult missions. It helps with stress. The two alien commanders looked at each other through their screens. This was clearly not what they expected. Humans, Admiral Krex said slowly. Do you understand that we are here to conquer or destroy you? Oh, Li Hyun said, looking sad. That would make us very upset. Not because we are afraid, but because we think you might be wonderful people once we get to know you. It would be sad to miss the chance to be friends. Friends? Thok repeated the word like it was foreign. Yes, people who care about each other and help each other. People who share meals and stories and laugh together. Li Hyun paused. Do you have friends, War Commander Thok? Thok was quiet for a long moment. The Dominion does not make friends. We take control or we destroy. That sounds very lonely, Dr. Kim Nari said softly. No wonder you all look so sad. We are not sad, Admiral Krex shouted. We are strong warriors. You can be both, Park Min-ho said gently. Some of our strongest warriors are also our kindest people. Strength is not just about fighting. It is also about protecting others and making them feel safe. The aliens went quiet again. This time they talked for a longer time in their own language. Finally, Thok turned back to the humans. Humans, we do not understand you. Your behavior does not match any species we have encountered in 1,000 years. Well, Li Hyun said, every species is different. That is what makes meeting new people so exciting. Would you like to come aboard and talk? We promise we will not try to hurt you. We just want to learn about you and share our own culture. And if we refuse? Admiral Krex asked. Li Hyun shrugged. Then we will be sad, but we will respect your choice. We will go back to our own space and hope that maybe someday you will change your mind. The two alien commanders looked shocked. You would just leave without fighting? Fighting is the last thing we want to do, Dr. Kim Nari said. We came here to make friends, not enemies. Admiral Krex spoke quietly to his crew, then turned back. We will come aboard your ship, but we will bring weapons. That is fine, Li Hyun said. We understand that you need to feel safe. We will prepare dinner. Do you have any food allergies we should know about? As the alien ships moved closer to dock with the Harmony, Park Min-ho whispered to his captain, Sir, what if this goes wrong, Leo? Hyun smiled. Then at least we tried to make friends instead of enemies. Sometimes that is all you can do. Dr. Kim Nari was already preparing the medical bay. I want to scan them for any health problems. They look like they have not had proper medical care in years. And so, on that day, the first meeting between humans and the galaxy's most feared empire began not with weapons or threats, but with an invitation to dinner and an offer of friendship. The aliens had no idea that this simple act of kindness would change the galaxy forever. The news of the Coalition's defeat spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Within hours, every space station, every trading post, every government center knew what had happened in human space. The recordings from the silent current played on screens everywhere. On Nexus 7 station, crowds gathered around public displays to watch the impossible footage. 10,000 Coalition ships destroyed in 20 minutes. The galaxy's most powerful military force reduced to floating debris. It's not real, Someone in the crowd whispered. No one is that strong. But the evidence was clear. Human technology was far beyond anything the galaxy had imagined. The Coalition had walked into a trap that had been waiting for them for 10,000 years. General Kyung-soo stood in his command center, watching reports pour in from across the galaxy. Coalition territories were in chaos. Some worlds were celebrating the end of their oppressive government. Others were panicking about what humans might do next. Sir, his communications officer called out, we're receiving a transmission from human space. It's addressed to the entire galaxy. Put it on the main screen. The display filled with the image of a woman in a simple blue uniform. She was middle-aged with graying hair and tired eyes, but her voice was clear and strong. I am President Yoon-ju of the Human Federation, she began. I speak to you today from New Terra, our capital world. By now you have all heard about the battle that took place in our space. You have seen the fate of those who brought war to our doorstep. The transmission continued to play on screens throughout the galaxy. Billions of beings listened to humanity's leader speak for the first time in 10 millennia. Many of you are probably wondering what we want, what our plans are, whether we intend to conquer your worlds. President Yoon-ju paused. The answer is simple. We want nothing from you except to be left alone. Admiral Wu Jin sat in a human prison cell, still wearing his torn uniform. The cell was clean and comfortable, but the walls were made of materials he didn't recognize, materials that seemed impossible to break or damage. A human guard brought him food and water. The guard's name tag read, Hyun-woo. He was young and polite, treating his prisoner with respect despite what had happened. Why? Wu Jin asked suddenly. Why didn't you destroy my ship when you had the chance? Captain Hyun-woo paused at the cell door. Because President Yoon-ju ordered us to take prisoners. She said the galaxy needed to hear your testimony about what really happened here. My testimony? About how the Coalition planned this war. About how your leaders lied to your people. Hyun-woo's expression became serious. About how this could have been avoided if your government had simply left us alone. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the Vengeance, Admiral In-soo reviewed casualty reports. The human fleet had suffered no losses. Not a single ship damaged, not a single crew member injured. It was the most one-sided battle in galactic history. Admiral, his tactical officer reported, long-range sensors are detecting massive fleet movements throughout Coalition space. It looks like their remaining forces are retreating to defensive positions. Good. Let them run. In-soo closed the tactical display. Signal all units to return to patrol positions. The threat is over. But the threat wasn't over for everyone. On distant worlds, Coalition leaders were making desperate plans. Some called for revenge attacks, others wanted to negotiate. A few wise ones suggested complete surrender. President Yoon-ju's broadcast continued across the galaxy. 10,000 years ago, our species was betrayed by those we called friends. We were attacked while defending the very people who stabbed us in the back. Billions of humans died because we trusted the wrong allies. The recording showed ancient images from the Cygnus War. Human colonies burning. Ships destroyed. Families torn apart by betrayal. The galaxy watched humanity's greatest tragedy unfold on their screens. We learned a hard lesson that day, Yoon-ju continued. We learned that peace is a luxury we cannot afford. That trust leads to betrayal. That friendship can become a weapon used against us. Back on Nexus 7, Taemin watched the broadcast with his crew. Around them, the cantina had become completely silent. Even Bora, the tough arms dealer, seemed shaken by what she was seeing. So we withdrew, President Yoon-ju said. We built a wall around our space and cut all contact with the outside galaxy. We spent 10,000 years becoming strong enough to never be betrayed again. The broadcast showed human shipyards and research facilities, massive construction projects that had taken millennia to complete. Technologies that pushed the boundaries of physics itself. We hoped the galaxy would leave us alone. We hoped that isolation would be enough. Yoon-ju's voice became harder. But apparently, some species never learn. New images appeared on screen. Coalition spy reports and invasion plans. Evidence of the conspiracy to attack human space. Proof that the descendants of humanity's betrayers were planning to finish what their ancestors had started. The Hegemony Coalition sent scouts to probe our defenses. They built fleets to invade our worlds. They planned to destroy us just like their ancestors tried before. President Yunju looked directly into the camera. They made a mistake. Admiral Wu Jin's recorded testimony began playing. The proud Vorkani warrior looked broken and defeated as he described the Coalition's real plans. How they had viewed humans as weak primitives. How they had expected an easy victory. "We didn't want this war," Yunju continued. "But since it was brought to us, we finished it. Completely." The broadcast showed the aftermath of the battle. Human ships collecting Coalition survivors. Medical teams treating wounded prisoners. Evidence that humanity fought with honor even when their enemies did not. "Now the galaxy faces a choice," President Yunju said. "You can accept that humanity wants only peace and isolation, or you can follow the Coalition's example and try to force us into submission." The display changed to show human defensive installations around their territory. Massive stations bristling with weapons. Fleets of ships that made the destroyed Coalition forces look like toys. "Choose wisely," the president warned. "We have been patient for 10,000 years. We have been merciful today, but our patience and mercy are not unlimited." Captain Hyunwoo appeared on screen next to President Yunju. He had been promoted to head of human diplomatic relations. His first job was to establish the new rules for galactic interaction with humanity. "Effective immediately," Hyunwoo announced. "A buffer zone of 50 light-years will be established around all human territory. Any military vessel entering this zone will be destroyed without warning. Any civilian ship wishing to pass through must request permission and submit to inspection." He paused to let this information sink in across the galaxy. These are not negotiable terms. They are the price of the Coalition's aggression. The broadcast ended with President Yunju's final words. "We do not seek conquest. We do not want your worlds or your resources. We want only to be left alone, to live in peace. Grant us this simple wish and you will never hear from us again. Deny it, and you will learn why the Coalition's defeat was not a battle, but a demonstration." The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. On Nexus 7, Taemin turned to his crew. "Well," he said quietly, "I think we all learned something important today." "What's that?" Jae-wook asked. "Some warnings should be taken seriously." Taemin looked around the silent cantina. "Bora tried to tell us. The old records tried to warn us. Even the humans themselves tried to discourage visitors." Heejin nodded slowly. "But nobody listened until it was too late. The Coalition's leaders thought they knew better," Taemin continued. "They thought humans were weak and isolated. They thought 10,000 years of silence meant 10,000 years of decline. Instead, it meant 10,000 years of preparation," Jae-wook said. Across the galaxy, ships began changing course to avoid human space. Trade routes were redrawn. Military patrols were pulled back. The 50 light-year buffer zone became as empty as the void between galaxies. Engineer Seok-jin worked quietly on a new human defense platform at the edge of their territory. He hummed an old Earth song as he calibrated weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Around him, automated systems watched for any sign of approaching threats. In the distance, alien ships passed carefully around human space. They gave the forbidden zone a wide berth, just as their ancestors had done with dangerous storms or deadly radiation fields. The warning had become reality. The threat had been tested and proven. The galaxy had learned at terrible cost that some species were better left alone. Dr. Minho updated his historical records on Nexus 7. He added a new entry to the files about humanity. Species assessment, avoid at all costs. Capable of technologies beyond current galactic understanding. Extremely dangerous when threatened. Prefers isolation but will defend territory with overwhelming force. He paused, then added one final note. Recommend immediate compliance with All human territorial demands. The price of defiance has been clearly demonstrated. The galaxy was a different place now, larger and more empty, with a dark zone that nobody dared to enter. Humanity had returned to their isolation, but this time it was by choice rather than exile. And in the deepest records of every government, a new rule was written. Don't enter human space. It's a terrible idea. The lights in the cantina were dim and smoky. Captain Taemin sat at his usual table in the corner of the Nexus 7 space station. His 8 legs were folded under him as he sipped his blue drink. The Velthari captain had been coming to this place for 10 years. He knew every face and every story. Tonight felt different. Bora, the Korthak arms dealer, was talking louder than usual. Her thick gray skin was covered in sweat. Her forearms moved wildly as she spoke to anyone who would listen. "I'm telling you something is wrong out there," Bora said. Her voice was deep and rough. 3 exploration fleets have gone missing in the past month, all in the same area. Taiman's large black eyes focused on Bora. The Velthari were known for being careful. They listened to rumors and warnings. It had kept their species alive for thousands of years. "Where?" asked a young trader from across the room. "The Outer Rim, Sector 7 Alpha, near what they call human space." Bora took a long drink from her metal cup. "Nobody talks about it much, but the ships that go there don't come back." Human space. Taemin had heard that name before. It was a small area on the edge of the galaxy. Most people avoided it. Nobody knew why. The cantina door opened with a soft hiss. Jaewook walked in. He was young for a Veltari, only 50 years old. His silver-blue skin was bright and clean. His eyes were full of energy and hope. "Captain," Jaewook called out. He moved quickly to Taemin's table. "I have great news. I found information about rare minerals in the Outer Rim. We could make a fortune." Taemin looked at his navigator. Jaewook was smart and brave, but he was also foolish sometimes. He wanted to get rich quickly. This often led to dangerous ideas. "Sit down, Jaewook," Taemin said. "Tell me about these minerals." Jaewook pulled out a small datapad. The screen glowed green in the dark cantina. "Look at this. Quantum crystals. Energy. Cores. Metal alloys that don't exist anywhere else. All in human space." "Human space?" Taemin's voice became serious. "Did you hear what Bora just said? Ships are disappearing in that area." Jaewook waved his hand. "Old stories. Fear talk. Humans are probably just a weak species. They can't even protect their own territory from pirates." Bora heard this. She walked over to their table. Her heavy boots made the floor shake. "Weak species? Boy, you don't know what you're talking about." "What do you mean?" Jaewook asked. Bora sat down. The chair creaked under her weight. "I've been selling weapons for 30 years. I know every dangerous species in the galaxy, but humans? Nobody talks about humans, and that scares me more than anything." "Why?" Taemin asked. "Because when people stop talking about something, it means they're afraid. Really afraid." Bora's eyes were dark and serious. "The exploration fleets that went missing? They weren't just traders. They were military scout ships, armed to the teeth, and they vanished without sending even one message." Jaewook laughed. "You're trying to scare us. There's no species that dangerous." "Is that so?" Bora stood up. "Then explain. This." She put a small device on the table. It projected a hologram of a star map. "Look at this area. See how every trade route goes around it? See how no shipping company will take contracts there? This has been going on for 2 years." Taemin studied the map. Bora was right. The shipping routes curved around human space like water around a rock. No one went there. "Maybe the humans pay them to stay away," Jaewook said. "With what? Nobody trades with humans. Nobody even knows what they look like." Bora turned off the device. "I'm telling you both. Stay away from that sector." After Bora left, Jaewook moved closer to Taemin. "Captain, this is our chance. If Everyone is too scared to go there. We'll have no competition. We could claim the best mining spots. Or we could end up like those missing ships, Taemin replied. Before Jae-wook could answer, another voice joined the conversation. Did someone mention humans? They turned to see Hye-jin approaching their table. She was Taemin's science officer. Her skin was darker than most Velthari, and her eyes were sharp and intelligent. She carried a data tablet under one arm. Hye-jin, Taemin said. Perfect timing. Tell Jae-wook why going to human space is a bad idea. Hye-jin sat down. Actually, I've been researching humans all day. What I found is very interesting. She activated her tablet. And very frightening. See? Even the science officer agrees, Jae-wook said. Interesting means profitable. No, Hye-jin said firmly. Interesting means dangerous. She showed them her screen. I found old records in the station's archive. Very old. From 10,000 years ago. Taemin leaned forward. 10,000 years was ancient history. Most records from that time were lost or corrupted. What did you find? He asked. Humans were part of the galactic community once. They had ships. They had colonies. They were members of something called the Galactic Alliance. Hye-jin scrolled through the data. But then they disappeared, all at once, like they never existed. Maybe they went extinct, Jae-wook suggested. No. Look at this. Hye-jin pointed to a section of text. The words were in an old language, but the translation appeared below. This is a message fragment. It says, Final warning to all Alliance members. Do not attempt contact with human colonies. They do not forgive. They do not forget. Quarantine protocols in effect. The table went quiet. Even Jae-wook stopped smiling. Quarantine? Taemin asked. It gets worse, Hye-jin continued. I found shipping records from that time. Hundreds of species traded with humans. They were described as reliable partners, good fighters, loyal allies. What happened to them? Taemin asked. I don't know. The records just stop. One day they're there, the next day they're gone. But there are references to something called the Cygnus War. Jae-wook shifted in his seat. Maybe they lost the war and were destroyed. No, Hye-jin said. The record suggests they won. But after the war, all contact stopped. Someone or something made the decision to cut them off from the galaxy. Taemin thought about this. A species that was powerful enough to win a war, but then chose isolation, or was forced into it. There's one more thing, Hye-jin said. She looked around to make sure no one else was listening. I found references to human technology, things that shouldn't be possible, weapons that could destroy entire fleets, ships that could travel faster than anything else in the galaxy. If they were so powerful, why did they disappear? Jae-wook asked. Maybe they didn't disappear, Taemin said slowly. Maybe they're still there, waiting. Hye-jin nodded. That's what scares me. If humans are still in that sector and if they have the technology described in these records, then the missing ships make sense. You're both being paranoid, Jae-wook said. But his voice was less confident now. The three Velthari sat in silence for a while. Around them, the cantina continued its normal business. Traders talked about safe routes and profitable deals. Nobody mentioned humans again. Finally, Taemin spoke. Jae-wook, I forbid you from going to human space. As captain of the Silent Current, I order you to forget about those minerals. Jae-wook's eyes flashed with anger. Captain, with respect, you're making a mistake. We could be rich beyond our dreams. Or we could be dead, Hye-jin added. Jae-wook stood up. Fine, I'll follow orders, but I think you're both cowards. He walked away, leaving Taemin and Hye-jin at the table. He's going to do something stupid, Hye-jin said. I know, Taemin replied. Keep an eye on him, and keep researching humans. I have a feeling we're going to need that information soon. As the night wore on, Taemin couldn't shake the feeling that something big was coming. The warning about humans felt real and urgent, but warnings were only useful if people listened to them. And Jae-wook had never been good at listening. 3 days had passed since the conversation in the cantina. Taemin woke up early in his quarters on the silent current. Something felt wrong. He could not explain it, but his instincts were screaming danger. He walked quickly to the navigation room. Hye-jin was already there, staring at her computer screen. Her face was pale. "Captain," she said without looking up. "Jaewook is gone." "What do you mean, gone?" "He took the Prophet's Edge last night. One of our scout ships. He left this message." Hye-jin pressed a button. Jaewook's voice filled the room. "Captain Taemin, I'm sorry, but I cannot let fear control my life. I'm going to human space to find those minerals. When I return rich, you'll understand why I had to do this. Don't try to follow me." Taemin closed his eyes. He had expected this, but it still hurt. Jaewook was like a son to him. Now the young navigator was flying toward what might be his death. "How long has he been gone?" Taemin asked. 8 hours. His ship is fast. He's probably already reached human space." Far away in the darkness between stars, the Prophet's Edge dropped out of hyperspace. The ship was small and sleek, built for speed and stealth. Jaewook sat in the pilot's chair, his heart beating fast with excitement. "Finally," he said to himself, "time to make history." He looked at his sensors. The area seemed completely empty. No ships, no stations, no signals. Just empty space and distant stars. Jaewook smiled. This would be easier than he thought. He began scanning for mineral deposits. His equipment was the best that Velthari technology could offer. Within minutes, he found what he was looking for. The readings were incredible, enough rare metals. "To buy a dozen ships, I was right," Jaewook whispered. The captain and Hye-jin were scared of nothing. He was wrong. Deep in space, hidden by advanced technology, 6 ships watched the Prophet's Edge. They were long and dark, like metal sharks. Their hulls absorbed light and energy. To most sensors, they did not exist. On the bridge of the largest ship, a man in a dark blue uniform watched Jaewook's vessel. His name was Commander Dong-hyun. His face was hard and cold. His eyes showed no emotion. "Sir," said a woman next to him, "the alien ship is scanning our mining operations." "I can see that, Lieutenant So-young." Dong-hyun's voice was quiet but sharp. "How long before it detects our installations?" 2 minutes, maybe 3. Dong-hyun nodded. "Signal the fleet. Surround the intruder. Use stealth pattern 7. "Yes, sir." The human ships moved like ghosts. They used technology that bent light around their hulls. They could fly next to an enemy ship without being seen. Jaewook was still focused on his mineral scans when his computer suddenly screamed warnings. 6 massive ships had appeared around him. They formed a perfect circle. There was no escape. "Impossible!" Jaewook gasped. "Where did they come from?" His communication system crackled to life. A deep voice spoke in perfect galactic standard language. "Alien vessel, you have entered human space without permission. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." Jaewook's hands shook as he reached for the communication controls. "This is Jaewook of the Velthari. I'm just a peaceful trader, I mean no harm." "We will determine that," the voice replied. "You have 10 seconds to comply." Jaewook looked at his weapon systems. His small scout ship had only basic defensive weapons. The human ships were 10 times larger and heavily armed. Fighting would be suicide. "I'm powering down," he said quickly. "Good choice." Minutes later, Jaewook stood in the cargo bay of his own ship. 3 humans in black armor had boarded the Prophet's Edge. They moved with military precision. Their weapons were strange and advanced. The leader removed his helmet. Jaewook saw a human face for the first time. The man had short black hair and dark eyes. His skin was pale. He looked young, but his eyes were old and tired. "I am Commander Dong-hyun of the UES Retribution," the human said. "You are now a prisoner of the Human Federation." "Please," Jaewook said. "I really am just a trader. I was looking for minerals to mine. I didn't know this was your territory." "Is that so?" Dong-hyun walked around Jaewook slowly. "Tell me, trader, What do you know about the 3 exploration fleets that entered our space recently? Jaewook's mind raced. The missing ships that Bora had mentioned. Nothing. I heard rumors that some ships had disappeared, but I don't know anything about them. Lieutenant So Young, Dong-hyun called. One of the armored humans stepped forward. Show our guest the evidence. So Young activated a holographic projector. Images filled the air around them. Jaewook saw ships he recognized. Military vessels from the Hegemony Coalition. These are not traders, Dong-hyun said. These are warships, scout vessels. They came here to study our defenses and plan an attack. Jaewook stared at the images. The ships were heavily armed. Built for war, not exploration. I don't understand. Why would they want to attack you? Dong-hyun laughed, but there was no humor in it. Because that's what your kind does. You fear what you don't understand. You attack what you fear. My kind? I'm Velthari. We're peaceful. We don't attack anyone. Perhaps not, Dong-hyun said, but you work with those who do. Your people trade with the Hegemony Coalition. You give them information. You help them plan their wars. That's not true, Jaewook protested. So Young pressed a button on her device. New images appeared. Records of trade between Velthari merchants and coalition military forces, weapons deals, information sales, technology transfers. Jaewook's heart sank. Some of his people were involved with the coalition. He had not known, but the evidence was clear. Your government may not order attacks, Dong-hyun continued. But your people make them possible, and now the coalition thinks they know enough about us to try an invasion. What will you do to me? Jaewook asked. Dong-hyun studied him for a long moment. That depends. Are you willing to deliver a message for us? What kind of message? A warning. To your people and to the galaxy. Dong-hyun's voice became hard as steel. Tell them what you've seen here today. Tell them that humans are not the weak, primitive species they think we are. So Young activated another projection. This time it showed the human fleet. Hundreds of ships appeared in the hologram. Each one was larger and more advanced than anything Jaewook had ever seen. We have been watching the galaxy for a long time, Dong-hyun said. We know about the coalition's plans. We know about their military movements. We know they're preparing to invade our space. How do you know all this? Because we've learned not to trust anyone. When you've been betrayed once, you never forget. Dong-hyun's eyes grew dark. We have spies in every major government. We have listening posts in every sector. We know everything that happens in this galaxy. Jaewook felt cold fear spreading through his body. The humans were not primitive, they were incredibly advanced. And they were angry. What happened to the scout fleets? He asked quietly. They're alive, So Young answered. For now, they're being held in our prison facilities. We're learning everything they know about coalition military capabilities. You're going to war? No, Dong-hyun said. We're going to end one before it starts. The coalition has been planning to attack us for months. They think we're weak and isolated. They're wrong on both counts. The commander walked to a window that showed the stars outside. Your people made a mistake long ago. They taught us that peace is a luxury we cannot afford. They showed us that trust leads to betrayal. We learned those lessons well. I don't understand. What mistake? Dong-hyun turned back to Jaewook. Ask your historians about the Cygnus War. Ask them what really happened to humanity 10,000 years ago. Ask them why we disappeared from the galaxy. Will you let me go? Yes, but with conditions. Dong-hyun nodded to So Young. She handed Jaewook a small device. This contains detailed records of everything we've discussed. Take it back to your people. Show them what you've learned. And if they don't believe me, then they'll learn the truth when the coalition fleet arrives. And that will be much more unpleasant for everyone involved. The humans escorted Jaewook back to his ship. As the Prophet's Edge prepared to leave, Dong-hyun opened communication one final time. Remember this, Velthari. We don't want to fight the galaxy. We just want to be left alone. But if someone brings war to our doorstep, we will finish it. Permanently. The human ships vanished as suddenly as they had appeared. Jae-wook was alone, again in empty space. But now he knew the truth. The space wasn't empty at all. It was full of watchers, waiting for the next threat to reveal itself. As he set course for home, Jae-wook realized that Bo-ra had been right. Some things were too dangerous to explore, and humanity was at the top of that list. The Prophet's Edge arrived at Nexus 7 Station 12 hours later. Jae-wook's ship docked with shaking hands. He had not slept during the journey home. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Commander Dong-hyun's cold face and heard his warning words. Tae-min was waiting at the docking bay. When he saw Jae-wook walking down the ship's ramp, he felt both relief and anger. The young navigator was alive, but he looked terrible. His skin was pale and his eyes were wide with fear. "Jae-wook," Tae-min called out. "What happened? Are you hurt?" "Captain." Jae-wook's voice was barely a whisper. "We need to talk, all of us. Get Hee-jin, get everyone. What I learned? It changes everything." 30 minutes later, they sat in Tae-min's private quarters. Jae-wook placed the human data device on the table. His hands were still shaking. "They were waiting for me," he began. "The humans. They knew I was coming before I even entered their space." "How is that possible?" Hee-jin asked. "They have technology we can't imagine, ships that can't be seen, weapons that shouldn't exist." Jae-wook activated the data device. Holographic images filled the room. But that's not the worst part. The images showed the coalition scout fleets, military ships with heavy weapons, attack formations, battle plans. The missing exploration fleets weren't explorers, Jae-wook continued. They were military scouts. The Hegemony Coalition has been planning to attack human space. Tae-min studied the images carefully. "Are you sure about this? The humans showed me everything. Trade records, communication intercepts, spy reports. The coalition thinks humans are weak and isolated. They want to take their territory." Hee-jin leaned forward. "What else did they tell you?" Jae-wook pressed another button. New images appeared, ancient documents and old star maps. "They told me to ask our historians about the Cygnus War. They said we would learn the truth about humanity." "Dr. Minho," Tae-min said suddenly. "He runs the Historical Research Center here on the station. If anyone knows about ancient wars, it's him. They found Dr. Minho in his laboratory 3 levels down from the main deck. The old Velthari was surrounded by computers and ancient data crystals. His workplace was messy and dark, lit only by glowing screens." "Captain Tae-min," Dr. Minho said without looking up. "What brings you to my dusty corner of the station?" "We need information about the Cygnus War," Hee-jin said. "Anything you can find." Dr. Minho's hands stopped moving over his keyboard. He turned around slowly. His old eyes were sharp and curious. "The Cygnus War? That's a name I haven't heard in years. Why do you want to know about that?" "It's connected to humans," Jae-wook said. "We need to understand what really happened." "Humans." Dr. Minho's expression changed. "Sit down, all of you. This is going to take a while." The historian activated his main computer. Ancient files began appearing on the large screen. The Cygnus War happened 10,000 years ago. It was the last great conflict of the old Galactic Alliance. "What was the alliance?" Tae-min asked. "A partnership of 12 species. They worked together for trade, defense, and exploration. Humans were one of the founding members." Dr. Minho scrolled through old documents. "But they were different from the others." "How so?" "The other species were peaceful by nature. Scientists, traders, farmers. They were good at building and creating, but they were not fighters." Dr. Minho found what he was looking for. Humans were the military arm of the alliance. They protected everyone else. The screen showed images of human soldiers. They looked younger and more hopeful than Commander Dong-hyun, but their weapons and ships were still impressive. "Humans were loyal allies," Dr. Minho continued. "When the Zektar Empire invaded Alliance space, humans fought them back. When space pirates attacked trading ships, humans hunted them down. For 2,000 years, humans kept the peace." "What went wrong?" Hee-jin asked. Dr. Minho's expression became sad. Fear. The other Alliance species began to fear their protectors. Humans were too good at fighting, too aggressive, too dangerous. The historian showed them more files, secret meetings between Alliance leaders, plans and conspiracies. The peaceful species decided that humans were a threat to galactic stability. They believed humans would eventually turn their weapons against their allies. So they betrayed them, Jaywuk said quietly. Yes. During the Cygnus War, when humans were fighting the Zektar Empire far from home, the Alliance attacked human colonies. They used human defense plans against them. They struck at civilian targets while the human military was away. The room became very quiet. The truth was worse than any of them had imagined. How many humans died? Taemin asked. Billions. Entire worlds were destroyed. The Alliance used weapons that humans had given them in trust. They turned humanity's own technology against them. Dr. Minho showed them images of destroyed human cities, empty colonies, burned ships floating in space. But the Alliance made one mistake. They didn't finish the job. What do you mean? They thought they had destroyed humanity's main fleet. But the humans were smarter than that. They had hidden reserve forces, secret bases, emergency protocols. The historian's voice became impressed, despite the dark subject. When humans learned of the betrayal, they returned home with a fury that terrified the galaxy. New images appeared. Human ships attacking Alliance forces, battles that lasted for days, technology that seemed impossible even by current standards. The humans didn't just fight back, Dr. Minho continued. They revolutionized warfare. They created new weapons, new tactics, new ships. They turned themselves into a perfect military machine. Did they win? Yejin asked. They crushed the Alliance forces completely. Every fleet that had attacked their worlds was destroyed. Every leader who had planned the betrayal was captured or killed. Dr. Minho paused. But then something strange happened. What? They stopped. Instead of conquering the galaxy in revenge, humans withdrew to their own territory. They established a quarantine zone around their space and cut all contact with the outside galaxy. Jaywuk remembered Commander Dong Hyun's words. He said they learned not to trust anyone. Exactly. The Alliance had taught humans that peace was dangerous, that friendship led to betrayal. So humans chose isolation over trust. Dr. Minho showed them the final files. The remaining Alliance species spread across the galaxy. They formed new governments and new partnerships. But they never forgot what they had done, and they never forgot what humans were capable of. The Hegemony Coalition, Taemin said suddenly. Some of their member species are descendants of the old Alliance. Yes. And now they're planning to finish what their ancestors started. Dr. Minho turned off his computer. But they don't understand what they're facing. What do you mean? 10,000 years of isolation. 10,000 years of preparation, 10,000 years of remembering what happened the last time they trusted other species. The old historian looked at each of them. The humans who fought, the Alliance were angry and hurt. The humans today have had 10 millennia to plan their revenge. Jaywuk activated the human data device again. Commander Dong Hyun said they know everything that happens in the galaxy. They have spies everywhere. Of course they do, Dr. Minho said. They're not going to be caught by surprise again. A new voice spoke from the laboratory's entrance. This is all very interesting, but also very dangerous. They turned to see a figure in the doorway. It was a tall humanoid with green skin and 4 arms. General Kyung-soo, the station's defense commander. General, Taemin said, how long have you been listening? Long enough to understand the situation. Kyung-soo entered the room. If what you've learned is true, then we have a serious problem. What kind of problem? The coalition is planning to attack a species that has spent 10,000 years preparing for exactly this kind of war, and they have no idea what they're walking into. General Kyung-soo studied the human data on the screen. Worse, some coalition intelligence agents are probably already aware that their plans have been discovered. They'll want to act quickly, before humans can prepare. You think they'll accelerate their attack? Heejin asked. I think they'll panic and panicked leaders make terrible decisions. The general looked at Jae-wook. Did the humans give you any other messages? Commander Dong-hyun said they don't want to fight the galaxy, they just want to be left alone. But if someone brings war to them, they'll finish it permanently. Then we need to warn the coalition to call off their attack, Taemin said. General Kyung-soo shook his head. It's too late for that. The coalition has been planning this for months. They've invested too much to stop now, and their leaders are too proud to admit they've made a mistake. So what happens now? Dr. Min-ho asked. Now we watch, the general replied. And we hope that when the shooting starts, the rest of the galaxy is smart enough to stay out of the way. As they left the laboratory, Jae-wook couldn't stop thinking about Commander Dong-hyun's cold eyes. The human had not seemed evil or cruel, just tired and sad, like someone who had seen too much betrayal and was ready for it to end. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you cornered a species that had nothing left to lose.